change management in any sort. AI helps us accelerate clarity, surface patterns, and reduce cognitive load so we can spend more time on judgment, alignment, and trust. Now, working out loud is a connective tissue for me. It turns private thinking into shared understanding. And when we combine that with AI, change becomes more transparent, more adaptive, and more human. Now, some key takeaways to anchor us today is that AI does not replace agile change. It speeds up the parts that slow us down. Now, as a bit of introduction, as Jen mentioned, my name is Allie Hartman, and I am thrilled to be here with you this afternoon, evening, or morning. I lead something called the Change Curiosity Lab. It's a space where change management, leadership, and AI meet curiosity and experimentation. Now, my work sits at the intersection of human behavior and emerging technology, helping leaders and teams navigate transformation with a little more clarity and a lot more creativity. Now, over the next hour, we'll dive into how we work through change, not just what we produce. Now, this is not an AI tool demo. It's an agile change leadership session with AI as an accelerant. We're here to make change visible and learn faster, not automate our change leadership. Now, I am a change leader who works very heavily in the AI space, but I'm also a practitioner, so hopefully everything here today will be super practical and applicable to your work, and you'll be able to take away to use things right now in your projects. Now, I do have a bit of a disclaimer here. I am the founder and owner of the Change Curiosity Lab, so all of this information and the views and interpretations are my own. I do currently serve on the board of directors for the Association of Change Management Professionals. I do also have a day job working as the AI Transformation Project Manager and Change Lead at Agile One. The views here are not representative of any of my official positions of ACMP or my current employer. For the authoritative framework and recognized global practice in change management, please refer to the ACMP standard for change management. Now, to get us started, we're so glad that you've signed up, that we've got a wait list that's growing. You've signed up and you're here, but what is the session really about? Now, our main goal is to help you turn complexity into shared understanding. Change can feel overwhelming, but when we make our work visible and narratable, it becomes much more manageable. Now, that means not just doing the work, but showing how and why you're doing it. Now, AI is here to accelerate that sense making, not to replace your judgment. It's a tool that helps you see patterns, surface insights, and move faster, but the human element remains absolutely essential. This session is designed to be practical, to equip you as change practitioners and leaders with human-centered agile change tools that are enhanced by AI. Now, what participants will do here, you'll see firsthand how AI can support working out loud, making your thinking and progress transparent to your team. We'll practice with real, reusable change artifacts, so you'll leave with tools you can immediately apply in your projects. Now, this isn't just theory. You'll get out there to try some prompts and templates you can use right away. And by the end of the session, you'll have new ways to make your change work visible, narratable, and adaptable with AI as your partner in the process. Now, by the end of our time together, you should walk away with three things. One is clarity on where AI fits within agile change leadership and where it absolutely does not belong. Two, practical techniques for working out loud with AI in ways that build transparency and psychological safety, not fear or confusion. And three, hands-on exposure to two core artifacts, an AI-enabled plan on a page and an AI-infused agile change canvas, plus inspiration for running small, low-risk micro experiments. Now, we're going to continually anchor back to some of the ACLI values of experimentation, visibility, and learning over perfection. Now, you may not leave here today as an AI expert, but you will leave as a more effective change leader who happens to use AI. Now, make sure to pull up your favorite AI tool on the side of your desk and have any handouts ready that you were able to download ahead of the call, because we will be doing a little bit of experimentation today. But you can also just watch me work out loud while we're doing those if you don't have to, if you haven't already downloaded them. All right, so now let's just kind of level set here. This slide is the backbone of everything we're doing today. And this is a slide directly from the Agile Change Leadership Institute. If you're not familiar with Agile change management is work that seeks to support people through the delivery of high volume change at speed with lean resourcing. Probably something a lot of us feel right now. Now, the foundations of big A, Agile change management, are a little a, Agile mindset, Agile change practices and tools, and Agile change ways of working. When change feels chaotic or exhausting, it's usually not because people are resistant or disengaged. It's because one or more of these three capabilities is weak or invisible. Now, the first is continuous engagement. This is not just about more communication. It's ongoing dialogue. It's staying connected to how people are interpreting the change, not just whether the messages are sent. Now, in Agile change, engagement is not a phase. It's a constant feedback loop. Working out loud strengthens this because it invites participation earlier before decisions are finalized. Now, the second is data-informed decision making. Now, note that I did not say data-driven decision making. This wording is highly debated topic in the data world, but you can think about it as using your GPS or your maps to tell you which side road may be a better route for you. Now, if you're going to blindly follow that GPS, that's more data-driven. Versus if you're using context clues that you know that there's a road closure on that route and maybe there's a big event in town and that's going to cause unexpected delays on that route, you want to choose the route that you know instead. Now that's using data to inform your decision. But ultimately, you are the decision maker. You're not just blindly following the data. Now, Agile change leaders use data to inform judgment, not replace it. This includes qualitative signals, patterns, and emerging insights, not just dashboards. Your gut instinct and experiences count as data here too. Now, AI can help us by synthesizing messy inputs faster so humans can focus on what the data means, not just what it says. Now, the third here is visual and transparent communication. This is about making the work visible. Plans, assumptions, risks, learning, and trade-offs shouldn't live in someone's head or in a private document or even within just the change team itself. When people can see the work, they can align to it, challenge it, and improve it. Now, this is where tools like Plan on a Page and the Change Canvas that you'll see later and other shared artifacts become leadership tools, not just static documentation. Now, together, these capabilities help teams navigate uncertainty with confidence. Not because everything is known, but because sense-making is shared. Now, AI can support all three of these, but it certainly does not replace any of them. It amplifies engagement by externalizing thinking, strengthening data-informed decisions by accelerating synthesis, and improves transparency by turning rough ideas into visible artifacts faster. Now, Agile change leadership is less about control and more about clarity. That visibility creates trust, and trust creates momentum. Now, the traditional change assumed that we could plan, communicate, train, and reinforce in a mostly linear way. But that assumption no longer holds. Maybe did it really ever? Not sure. Change today is continuous interpretation. Information moves faster than understanding, and decisions are made with incomplete data. Teams need that shared meaning, not just status updates. Now, Agile change leadership is about creating the conditions for shared sense-making, and working out loud is how that sense-making becomes visible. AI helps us externalize thinking so others can engage with it sooner, and this is the foundation for everything else we'll explore today. Now, here's a case for working out loud and how to do it with AI. Now, working out loud, if you are not familiar, is the practice of working publicly and collaboratively to amplify connections, networks, innovation, and understanding. Putting it simply, working out loud is observable work plus narrating your work, so you can see it and you can hear it. Click. Working out loud does a few powerful things. It means making thinking, decisions, and learning visible as the work evolves. It surfaces assumptions early. It builds alignment in real time. It increases trust and psychological safety, and it allows for faster feedback and iteration. When the work stays hidden, learning slows and misalignment grows. We move from shared sense making to polished deliverables too late in the process. Now, working out loud requires purpose and generosity. It can feel really vulnerable, especially in environments that reward polish over progress. And that's why leadership modeling matters so much here. Now, AI can support helping us to show our thinking and not just our conclusions. Now, working out loud without AI could look like you're sitting on a team call, you've got a problem statement, you're trying to figure something out, you're trying to come up with a solution. And maybe I'm sitting there as the leader and I'm saying, "Hey, let's put our heads together, let's work this out." Maybe if you're in person, it's on a whiteboard with sticky notes. Maybe if it's virtually, it's on a virtual whiteboard. Maybe it's someone just sharing their screen. But you're basically going through and saying, okay, let's kind of work this out. Let's put some slides together. Okay, what if we go down this path? Here are the options. And then you have another team member that says, yeah, but don't forget, we already figured out XYZ. Okay, great. That's great feedback. Okay, what if we do now ABC? Okay, great. Another team member maybe says, yes, but hold on. We already have slides on that. Let's pull that in. Great. And so here you're collaborating, you're working together, but you're also doing it out loud. So you're kind of showing your thinking process along the way. And using AI to help do some of that work when you're working solo makes it even better. Now, complexity has outpaced traditional approaches. We're managing more initiatives, faster timelines, and more interdependencies than ever. When people work in isolation, alignment slows and the rework increases. Now, working out loud creates momentum by making intent and rationale visible, reducing second guessing, and allowing teams to learn together, building alignment and psychological safety. And a reality check, speed without shared understanding is not agility. It's just faster confusion. Now, AI supports better narration of thinking, decisions, and sense making. When you narrate your work with AI, people understand the why and not just the what. Now, it helps translate that messy input into structured thinking. It surfaces assumptions, risks, and open questions quickly. It helps us narrate decisions and trade-offs and reduces the effort required to show your work. Now, AI can help us externalize thinking so others can see it, respond to it, and build on it. Now, this is not just automation for automation's sake. It's about reducing that cognitive load so humans can do what humans do best. The operating principle here is simple. Human-led, AI-augmented, and momentum-focused. Curiosity is the multiplier, and when that curiosity is visible, learning accelerates. Now, AI doesn't just create better change, but curiosity will. Curiosity is what turns AI from a productivity tool into a learning accelerator. It shows up when leaders ask better questions, test assumptions, and make their thinking visible before answers are perfect. Now, AI acts as a multiplier because it lowers the cost of curiosity. It helps us explore faster, surface patterns sooner, and challenge our own thinking without slowing momentum. Now, this only works when humans stay in the lead. Human-led means we decide what matters. AI augmented means we expand our perspective, but do not replace judgment. And momentum focused means insights lead to action. Now, without curiosity, AI is just going to speed up that bias. With curiosity, it speeds up learning. And AI amplifies the transparency and sense making while people are creating the meaning. And together, we expand how we see, sense, and solve. Now, this scenario should feel familiar. A change is live, adoption is uneven, and everyone has opinions. Leaders think it's a training issue, practitioners hear confusion, some teams avoid the solution entirely, feedback is anecdotal and fragmented. Now, I need help to kind of figure out what is going on. So I'm going to draft this prompt, and this is included in your pack that if you downloaded in the AI prompts pack. So if you have your AI ready, you can copy and paste, update a little information and try it yourselves, or you can watch me work out loud and do it. And the prompt here is to say, I'm trying to understand why adoption of this recent change is uneven. Here's what I know so far. Here are a couple of details about what's going on. Please do the following. Lay out multiple plausible explanations for what might be happening. Show your reasoning step by step for each explanation. That's really that working out loud. It's having the AI work through why are you doing each of these things. Identify what evidence would support or contradict each one. There's your data informed. Highlight which explanations are most testable in the short term. There's some experimentation. And suggest one low risk micro experiment to learn more. Make your thinking visible and call out uncertainty. So that's providing some of that transparency so you know kind of what the AI is thinking. Now, here is what we are going to look at. So here I threw that example into my Copilot here, which was one of my work approved AI tools. Any of them will work. And here's what kind of it came up with. So it first created a table. It was longer than this, but here is an overview of possible explanations. So it's showing here some hypotheses. Here's a core idea and if it's testable. So that's first even giving me some diagnostic about what could be going on here. Next, it went through each of those possible explanations and gave me some more details about the solution. So it gave me, training doesn't match the real workflow. And it'd say what might be happening. Here's the core idea, why it might fit with the data that you've already given me. Here's some evidence that supports this idea. So here's some support. Here's some contradicting info. And then it gives me a testable little micro experiment that I can try. So here, AI helps generate assumptions that I may be making, early insights and patterns, risks and uncertainties, questions worth exploring next. And by asking AI to show its reasoning step by step, explain how conclusions were formed, identify where confidence is low, its thinking becomes visible, inspectable, and discussable. Now, the key takeaway here is when you show your thinking, you turn potential disagreement into learning, right? This is all giving you some data to go out and test. And it came up with, 10 other ones that I could also go and test here. All right, so working out loud creates that shared understanding. Agile change also needs clear structure to move forward. Now, next, we'll turn scattered inputs into a clear, flexible, timeline-ready plan without losing the ability to adapt. We're going to let AI handle the heavy lifting. Humans lead the alignment. Now, the plan on a page is about shared visibility, not perfect planning. It works for Agile change because it creates sequencing without over-detailing. It helps align teams quickly and evolves as learning evolves. So AI accelerates the first draft, and leaders can then focus on the sense making, coordination, and judgment. Now, this is a working artifact, not a deliverable to be locked and filed away, never to be seen again. Now, if you have not seen a plan on a page, I grabbed kind of the basic template from the Agile Change Leadership Institute. I've made some tweaks for how I work and what applies most to my project. But this will give you a fast, practical way to turn scattered notes into a structured timeline-ready plan using kind of a swim lane format. So here on this page, you'll see at the top, we've got a timeline. Here I've broken it down by 1 quarter, and months and weeks. Depending on your timeline for your project, you may want to dive in even deeper. Maybe it's a month, week, day view, depending on if you've got a really busy time. I wouldn't go much more zoomed out than a quarter, just because then you'll lose too much detail. The next row is project milestones. So here you might want to add when testing is starting or finishing, when go live dates are, any holidays or big PTO periods. That's where you're going to do kind of those overarching milestones. Then you've got these swim lanes here for kind of the basic change strategies. So you've got communications, training, engagement, feedback, and measurement. Now, those are just my typical kind of change strategy buckets. You, of course, could update for whatever makes sense for you. Now, this helps enable shared understanding of what's happening when. Now, early identification of gaps and overload show up very quickly, and it gives easier coordination across teams. Now, these plans are hypotheses. The format makes it easy to test and adapt. Now, here is my AI prompt. It is very long. I've included it in the AI prompt handout. Um, but I was trying to have AI do the work for me. So I've created this very long prompt. I'm going to do a little working out loud example of what I did. So the prompt is saying, I'm creating a high level agile plan on a page for a change initiative. I'm going to give some context about the change. So a change description, what's going on or the solution, the type of change, is it process, technology, behavior, operating model, merger acquisition, whatever type of change. An organizational context, so maybe it's about the size, the pace of change, any constraints, any seasonality that may happen. Different audiences for my rollout. So maybe it's the type of role they do, maybe it's the size or location, maybe it's their readiness level, if I know that. Any known constraints or anchors. So if I know the go live dates by certain audiences that I have to stick to, any blackout periods or dependencies or risks that I already know about. And then I'm going to tell it about some planning assumptions. So I want to work in a rolling agile phase. Activities should follow a reasonable sequence relative to each go live. The dates can be approximate or expressed as week of January 2nd. Please generate a plan on a page organized by these swim lanes, the five kind of categories I had. For each swim lane, list key activities that typically support a successful rollout for this type of change. Align activities to each audience group and their go live. Suggest approximate timing for each activity. Include key milestones such as maybe awareness and invite comms, road shows, training prep, delivery, engagement touch points like office hours or town halls, any feedback loop check ins, any usage reporting, things like that. Now, the output format, I want it to be kind of it's basically a table format. I want it to be visual. Use my template. So I was able to upload my template, my blank one, so that maybe the AI can help see what I'm trying to get to. I want the columns to be dates, the rows to be the swim lane, and the cells to be the audience and the activity. So I want to basically see all of my change plans on one slide in one view for this quarter. Now, the guidance I'm giving is that I want to optimize for clarity and flow, not perfection. Call out where human judgment or iteration would be needed, and treat this as a first draft to be refined with stakeholders. Now, I'm going to walk through that very meaty prompt and where I tried it in different AI tools to see how it did. First, I tried Copilot, my one of my first go-tos here. Now, it's able to create a table with that information. It's not super visual looking. A little bit, I can look quickly and see that, the weeks of January 26th, this week, is a little heavy. Maybe the week of 216 is a little heavy. I can see some pockets that are less busy. The week of the 9th looks like I've got nothing planned. And so I'm able to see a little bit of what I'm trying to get to, but it's not beautiful. Next, I tried Gemini. This was not it. It created a Google Sheet for me, which I appreciate, but it put a month in one column. And so now it's got all the dates and activities for each strategy within one cell, which does not help me see anything clearly. It did give me emojis, so that's slightly visual, but I cannot tell what is going on here at all. So that was a big fail. Next, I decided, okay, well, if I want really an image in Gemini, let me try Nano Banana Pro, which is Gemini's image creator. This got, slightly prettier maybe because there's colors, but it grouped each strategy by the audience and the activity and not really the timing. So I can't tell what happens in which order. So, if I were just looking down, I'd say, okay, the AI newsletter and the awareness com for audience one happens, but oh, I've missed now the Ask Me Anything is also that same week, or things like that, that make it a little bit too hard to read. So not great. Next, I tried Claude. This was kind of a mix of the two. We've got some colors. I have no idea what the shading means. It's put it at least in my timeline framework, but it's still not my favorite. I'm a little unclear. I could probably work with this if I needed to. I can still see when those busy weeks are. Next, I threw it into Notebook LM, which is a Google product. At this point, I will say I might have cheated and gave it the final look to say replicate this, because this is cl the closest one I'm trying to get to. It's got those kind of visual markers. I can see that there's the diamonds for the milestones. I can see some quote bubbles for the open door. I can see a little dashboard for the metrics. It's color coded. It shows kind of the general structure I'm looking for. But this one also was an image, and so I can't really adapt this at all. This is kind of a one-time fix. Okay, let's try ChatGPT, which is my go-to for everyday chatting. This one gave me a PowerPoint slide I can update, but kind of a mess of what it was doing. I don't know what all these other blocks are. They just say activity. That helps me zero. I can see some of the activities and what I should be doing. The timing is a little vague. We're now just at month view, so this is really unclear on when all this is happening. Next, we tried Perplexity. Still not quite right. An image. We're seeing some of the activities, but it's a little unclear still. Now, next, I wanted to throw a lesser known AI tool called Gamma, which is supposed to be really good at slides. I have not perfected kind of professional slides. It's good for kind of social media slides. But this one kind of created an infographic view. Clearly did not use my template. But this one might be interesting, and if I could play around with it a little bit more, this one might be kind of a cool way to show things. This color scheme you could change and things like that. But this one might have hope if I were not specifically looking for a plan on a page. And lastly, which one was the best one? Myself. Doing it myself was the best option for what I wanted because I had a very clear image of what I wanted to show. So, this is probably a good lesson learned that it took me quite a bit to create that crazy prompt. I did use AI to help me make the prompt, and then test and iterate it with each of these tools to find out can anything do what I'm looking to do. And ultimately, I did it myself. So again, be humble. Part of working out loud is being transparent because sometimes it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You don't get the solution that you're thinking of right out of the bat. So what did help was help me create the activities. If I had just asked for a table with activities broken up into these categories, give me some suggestions on timing, that would have been enough to save me hours of prep to figure out. And I could have done the slide. That would help me, make some sense of what's actually going on here. The human part is the prioritization, any trade-offs, sequencing decisions, and activities. And now because I'm building this myself in PowerPoint, I, of course, can adapt and move those little icons wherever I want. I could change the colors for different audiences. I could make any updates I wanted to. I could not find an AI that could do it quite as good as myself. So I will say that the plan on a page here is one of my favorite assets and deliverables for a project. And that is because it helps put that visual story about all the things that go into change work beyond just training and comms into picture. And now you can easily use this with a sponsor to help them see what all is going on. Now, this is a project pretty close. My real life one actually looks a little bit more chaotic than this one for a project that I'm rolling out right now. And I'm able to use this slide recently, just last week, I think, to talk to the president of my company to share with him what this rollout is going to look like for this project that I am running solo. Now, behind each of these activities, I have a change strategy deck that's probably 60 slides. No one needs to see those 60 slides. If your change team probably does, you need to. Maybe if you have a micromanager, maybe they want to. But no sponsor or leader at your company is going to sift through 60 slides. Never mind, read them offline, sit in a meeting for you to read them all, right? This is preparing. You're showing your preparation by having all those slides on the back end. So if you say, hey, if you want to dive into any of these in more detail, I've got it all figured out. I, of course, used AI to help me pivot all of these different individual plans here. But I'm able to take this to my president and say, here's our plan. Here's where we are. Normally, I would have a big dark line that says we are here so that it's even easier to identify where you are. And I have this up on the side of my desk at my desktop. at all times when I'm working on this project so that I can quickly see one, if someone asks me a question, hey, when is this happening? When's that upcoming training? When is that survey going out? I can quickly look and tell you. But you can also jump in here. I'm just seeing now that I didn't update one of the dates. You can jump in here and quickly look and say, okay, this week I am focused on, 126. So I've got to go live this week. I've got a newsletter. I've got an awareness comm coming up. I got to prepare for. I have an open door session and a town hall all this week. So now that helps me prioritize my week on what I need to do. Now, these plans are easier to understand, challenge, and improve together. And these items might be easier to understand for your stakeholders than your change lingo, right? They can look and see, okay, there's an email, something that looks like a newspaper, a star, something big, someone standing at a podium, something iterative that we're looking at, feedback over here, some kind of report, right? That's easier for a stakeholder to understand and kind of grasp. It's also helping show our change work in a visible way. So that it shows that, hey, I know you think change is just about sending an email real quick and developing some training, but actually there's a lot more that goes into making sure that this change is successful. So this is one of my favorite deliverables and assets to use on a project plan. And again, you can update and adapt anything as you go. For here, I've got these go lives are basically iterations. So anything I'm learning from group one, I'm going to apply to group two and then group three. All right. So with AI, you can spend at least a little time preparing, so you can spend more time actually leading the change. Now, change leaders can now repurpose some of that time to do far more important work. Now, next, we're going to apply the same thinking to blend AI with another recognizable ACLI method. Now, here's a familiar tool enhanced for speed and learning. Apologies, my little one's popping into the screen here. It's the AI-infused Agile Change Canvas. Now, the change canvas exists to create shared understanding across roles and perspectives while staying flexible and as conditions change. Now, what makes it powerful in an agile context is that assumptions, risks, and signals are explicit and revisited. AI helps accelerate sense making across these sections, but humans still decide what matters and what to prioritize and what to act on. Now, that canvas is meant to evolve, and if it doesn't change over time, something may be wrong. You may need to take a look at it because here we're shifting from static documentation to living change intelligence. The canvas becomes a living, breathing artifact that's updated at the speed of learning. Now, here we've designed for learning and not certainty. The advanced canvas also allows deliberate space for signals to watch, early indicators that conditions may be changing, human judgment points, parenthood, human judgment points where experience, ethics, and context matter most, AI supported sense making, pattern detection, synthesis, and scenario exploration. Now, why this matters is that not all decisions should be automated. That makes human judgment visible and intentional. Now, here is a typical change canvas. This also is included in your template kind of pack there. And again, I've taken this from the Agile Change Leadership Institute. And I have just infused some AI pieces in here. I've updated a couple sections. Now, this is going to help me use AI as a thinking partner inside each section, not just a bolt-on at the end. The intent was to speed up sense making, surface blind spots earlier, and help practitioners work out loud instead of perfecting in isolation. Now, here the AI-infused change canvas is human-centered and data-informed change. Now, first at the top, you'll see some basic information about your change. So you've got the product owner, the initiative, the audience, the change lead, the date, and the go live date. Now, for me, I like to do this holistically for the change, where the audience would be everyone that's going through the change. And then you can use AI to help pivot this for a slide for each individual audience, because some of these boxes here are going to be different for each audience. And so that's where it's really living and you can understand. As you see in the top right, You've got the date here so that you can take different versions, different snapshots across time because things should change. Now, first, I'll go through kind of each of these boxes here. So first, we've got the problem and the opportunity. That is the what. The purpose here is to define the change problem or opportunity clearly while surfacing assumptions, competing narratives, and systemic signals. The human here is going to frame the initial problem statement, provide any context or constraints, and decide what actually warrants action. The AI is going to help reframe the problem from multiple stakeholder perspectives, identify hidden assumptions or gaps in the framing, detect any patterns or parallels to any similar initiatives you may have done in the past. Now, an AI prompt you could use just on this box could be something like, given this problem statement draft, identify alternative framings from an executive, manager, frontline, customer perspective, and call out any assumptions or missing context. Pardon. The next box here is the solution or the change approach. That's the how. So the purpose here is to explore viable change approaches without prematurely locking into a single path. The human is going to select the preferred approach, of course, and apply judgment to any trade-offs. You're balancing feasibility, capacity, and readiness. The AI is going to help generate multiple solution pathways. So maybe it's an incremental change, maybe it's phased, maybe it's bold, and you're all going all in. Here, the AI is able to compare the effort versus the impact. Maybe there's dependency or sequencing risks that needs to be called out. So here on this one, you could use AI to propose 3 to 4 change approaches to address the problem, including low effort or phased options, summarize the benefits, risks, and complexity. Next is the change strategy. This is really the how. And so the purpose here is to articulate how you're going to action this approach. So the human is going to decide which activities and channels to use based on those suggestions or may know what has worked before. So that's where now you're pulling in items for maybe your plan on a page. The AI can help you brainstorm these new ideas that maybe you haven't tried yet. It's really good at brainstorming. So maybe you're going to ask it to brainstorm 10 new ideas for this rollout, give me pros and cons for each, and tell me how they're going to be successful for this context. Now, for success criteria, you're going to define what success looks like beyond just completing the activity. You are going to try to avoid vanity metrics, which are just metrics that maybe look flashy, maybe it's a big number, but it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really convert to outcomes. So that is not helpful in our change story. The humans are still going to decide, of course, what outcomes really matter based on these signals. Now, going over to the other column, we've got the value proposition. Here, you're going to articulate why this change matters in language that resonates across audiences. Now, this is one that's probably going to change based on your audience. It's going to be different for different audiences why this is important. You're going to anchor value to strategy and real outcomes and reject any inflated or vague benefits. The AI can help you translate that value into role-specific language. It's very good at just kind of pivoting, tell me the info about each audience and switch it up. Next, you've got OKRs, objectives, and key results. This is how you're going to align change outcomes to measurable objectives without over-engineering. So here you're going to set objectives that drive the focus, and you're going to make sure that those OKRs reinforce desired behaviors. AI can help you, of course, draft those and check alignment with the different levels or audiences and test which ones truly indicate progress. Now, key messages and the what's in it for me with them, this will help you create consistent, credible messages that support understanding and not just awareness. So the human is going to set the tone, the voice, the intent, decide what leaders must personally communicate. And the AI can help you draft the messages, give you that first draft so that you can react to it. So you're not staring at a blank screen. It can help adjust for emotional context and timing, avoid jargon or ambiguity. This is another one that AI is really good at. Help me draft 3 different versions for key messages, one for leaders, one for managers, one for employees. Keep the message honest about uncertainty and change impacts. Now, lastly here, I've added some to this. This is a bit of a heavy box, I'd say. risks, signals, and issues with mitigations. So here you want to anticipate any obstacles early and reduce surprises later. So the human is going to prioritize those risks and decide which mitigation strategies they're going to go with. The AI can help conduct what's called pre-mortems, where it's going to help you identify which signals are cueing which risks, and then what mitigation strategy you can put in place before we even get to that risk. Now, the design here is for speed to to insight more than perfection. Transparency beats polish. And this canvas evolves as learning increases. So that's why you've got that date in the top right so that you can take those snapshots over time. Now, AI isn't replacing practitioner judgment, it's just compressing time to insight and making that thinking visible sooner. Now, one blind spot I will call out with AI in general, but here too, this canvas only works if leaders and practitioners resist treating AI output as the answer instead of provocations. The real power of your canvas is when each AI prompt is framed as generate options, not decisions. That's where the human comes in. Okay, next we've got a prompt to help you here. Again, kind of long, but here you're saying, I'm looking to fill this one slide change canvas with these sections that I just discussed. You are a change strategist and expert coach, so you are going to ask me questions about the change for each of these sections one by one, and I will describe the changes, context, plans, and outcomes I've already planned. Include any questions about the change that you need to help complete the section. At the end, you're going to report back a few bullets or sentences about the plan that I'm going to use with change sponsors so they know what's going on and what they can expect for their group. Now, this prompt is designed to kind of slow you down in the right way. AI asks us questions one at a time. As I mentioned, a couple of them, you could do it for each section individually, but this prompt together is going to get you some really cool output. So this is especially useful with sponsors because it makes those expectations explicit and surface those gaps early. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little bit of working out loud that I did with, this one's with ChatGPT, to use that prompt. So first it's going to say, hey, we're going to use this like a live working session, not a survey. And so here's where a little bit I'm working out loud with my AI. So next, it's going to ask me that first question, that block there was the problem and opportunity. So here, this one is going to ask five questions that will help the AI answer what should be the problem opportunity statement. So it's going to ask what problem or opportunity triggered this change. It's going to focus on observable or unrealized potential, not the solution. Who is most affected and how do they experience the problem? What is driving urgency right now? What happens if nothing changes in the next 6 to 12 months? And is this primarily framed as a problem to fix, an opportunity to unlock, or both? And so now it's asking me those questions. Now imagine this is my coworker and we're sitting live in a call together and we're asking each other these questions to kind of pull out what the problem or opportunity statement could be. So I answer those questions, and now it gives me kind of this summary for just that one block that I could use. Now, easily I could blow this out to be a slide in the deck to help me get my sponsors on board, but this is going to summarize what I've just discussed in those 5 questions. Now, it's going to go through each of those sections with like 3 to 5 questions per section to help me kind of figure out what I'm trying to share. Now, this is what my final answer got to. And so it pulled out each of those sections. After I finished with each section, it pulled out this version, basically, not in the PowerPoint slide, in the chat version, that I was then able to copy paste over to my PowerPoint. I didn't even try to make it do the PowerPoint this time. This shows that the canvas evolves as learning evolves. And so again, I'm taking snapshots here. I'm able to share this with my stakeholders so that they can see on a page all of the different pieces that I've worked out for them. And like I said, you can pull out each one of these things and they could each be a slide, or you can just have this example here. If I was sharing this with sponsors, I would probably ask the AI to be a little bit more concise, or maybe use 3 bullets instead of long sentences, things like that, so that I don't need to use tiny font here so you can't even see it. Now, it wouldn't be the Change Curiosity Lab if I didn't quickly cover some experimentation, which is one of my favorite things. Micro experiments help teams learn quickly with minimal disruption. Really supports agile little a work. Now, what changes by using AI is that we get faster insight cycles. What stays the same is intentional design, ethical judgment, and human decision making. The agile truth here is learning is the real deliverable. Micro experiments move faster when AI can handle the cognitive heavy lifting. Micro experiments move us from intuition to evidence faster. AI can support each stage of a micro experiment. So before, it's helping us clarify the hypothesis and success signals. During, it's scanning inputs for emerging patterns and sentiment. And after, maybe it's generating reflection prompts and summarizing the learning for you. Now, why this helps, it helps reduce cognitive load on teams. They don't have to come up with all of these ideas. You're just sharing the inputs with the AI and saying, help me make sense of this. It helps make learning explicit and shareable. It prevents over-indexing on anecdotal feedback. So if you have a couple of loud people in the room that may be kind of painting what you're thinking is actually going on, this is helping so that you're not just hearing those loud voices, but it's actually helping you get to the core problem. Now, AI here is accelerating the learning, but humans decide what it means and what to do about it. All right, so each example here, again, this is in my handout. I won't go through each one. It's intentionally small. Now, I would say just one thing, learn quickly and adjust visibly. Agility is not about doing more experiments, it's about learning from the right ones. Now, handout, I have all of these written out for you along with my prompts to help you get done. Now, to wrap up here, everything we've covered today connects one core idea. Agile change momentum comes from visibility, learning, adaptability, and trust. Thinking out loud makes thinking visible. AI accelerates thinking and reduces cognitive load. Curiosity keeps the lead and learning moving forward. When these come together, it stops feeling like a series of disconnected activities and starts behaving like a shared system. Plans become living tools. Canvases evolve. Micro experiments create evidence instead of. Now, this is what modern change leadership looks like to me. Not more control, but more clarity. Not faster decisions, but better ones made together. Momentum doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from making learning visible and acting on it. Now, AI can accelerate thinking, but it cannot replace leadership by humans. If AI uses, if AI use reduces trust or clarity, you need to pause and redesign. Humans remain essential for judgment, ethics, trust, and empathy, and making meaning from uncertainty. Now, this is not a limitation of AI, it's a reminder of our role, our human superpowers. Now, where you can start tomorrow or even today, if you're just starting out your day, start small, make learning visible. Use AI to narrate your thinking, not just produce outputs and take what it gives you and copy paste. Share those early drafts instead of the polished plans. Add one AI supported experiment to do something you already do. Treat plans and canvases as living artifacts. And the final thought to leave you with, work out loud, learn faster, and lead with intention. Momentum grows, learning is visible, especially in an AI enabled world. Now, again, if you didn't have a chance to download the material shared ahead of time, make sure to look out for follow-up email from Agile Change Leadership Institute. And don't forget that when you do the Agile Change Management Certificate with ACLI, you get more than 50 other templates to use, including the ones that I use today, like Plan on a Page, Change Canvas. It's amazing. I use them all the time. I need a little inspiration or switch things up. Now, your bonus for attend today is you can get the Change Curiosity Labs AI Change Starter Pack, which includes my personal AI Change Management Prompt Library and my Change Curiosity AI Lab Assistant, which is a custom GPT, so it's tuned for change management work. I've used, of course, in today's presentation. for a one-time cost of $100 USD using the coupon code ACLI alumni at checkout. That code is available through March 31st. Jen is going to share it in the chat with you. Now, I'd like to thank you for spending time in the Change Curiosity Lab with me today. If you'd like to keep exploring how curiosity and AI can make your work and your leadership more human, here's where to find me. Of course, the Change Curiosity Lab shares weekly tools, prompts, and reflections on how curiosity and AI are shaping the future of change. So you can find me, of course, on LinkedIn, both on my personal site and my Change Curiosity Lab. Also on Substack or changecuriositylab.com for all of my other services and products and thought leadership on there. So thank you so much for the Agile Change Leadership Institute for this awesome opportunity, and I'll hand it back to you.
You are tremendous, Ali. Thank you so much. That was so fabulous. And what I loved about it, there were so many times I felt so incredibly validated because I was like, oh, it's not just me. That's what's happening with what I was seeing. And I could see that in the chat. There have been a couple of questions that have come through the chat. However, what I would invite you to do is make sure you're following Ali on LinkedIn or connected with Ali on LinkedIn or have subscribed to her Substack because I think those questions are going to make for great posts. It would actually be better to treat them, as a really strong thought experiment than a 30-second answer right now. So make sure you're following
Awesome.
Ali, and we'll pick those up as a way to respond later. Now, as Alex said, if you want more templates to be using with your AI, the Agile Change Management Certificate is the way to go. I'm going to send all of you a email in the next couple of hours where I'll reiterate that coupon that Ali told you. I'll give you more links if anybody has missed it in the chat. And if you want to join us on the next webinar on February the 17th in Australia, it'll be the 16th in the Northern Hemisphere, where we're digging into neurodiversity and agile change. We've got another fabulous alumni who's sharing a really rich personal story around his experience with ADHD and what that means for him being a change practitioner and how agile change helps. But Ali, a huge thank you from all of the community. This was so wonderful, and we appreciate your willingness to be so humble in sharing what works and what doesn't. And of course, we're super appreciative of your little human assistant helping with the decision making. For those who didn't catch the beginning, Ali's super snowed in at the moment. She's had a really tough week because of it. So this has been magnificent. Ali, thank you so much. And everybody, enjoy your day if you're starting. Have a wonderful evening if you're finishing. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.